Well, hello and welcome to the team. If you are watching this, it probably means that you have either just accepted a job as a digital marketing coordinator or perhaps you're a state leader who's interested. So either way, we're so glad to have you here, and especially if you took on that digital marketing coordinator position, welcome. My name is Laura Scala. I am the social media director for the Convention of States project. And I'm going to be the one walking you through some training and getting you rolling in this position. So kick back and relax. We're going to have a good time here. I'm going to try and keep this as lighthearted and fun as we can, while also giving you a lot of this critical training that you're going to need to really feel empowered in this job that we have to do, which is not a small task, but it is a very worthy task. So first off, let's just talk a little bit about what our digital strategy is here at Convention of States and kind of what we're all going to be about working in the digital space for Convention of States. So I would say if you really boil down our digital strategy, you can boil it down into probably about two sentences. And it's pretty simple. It's really to just increase engagement and awareness about Convention of States by going around the mainstream media directly to our audience. And by doing that, we're working to really build an activist base that will ultimately hold their elected leaders accountable and ultimately return America to be the self-governing society that it was created to be. So a little bit of a lofty goal, but we're definitely working towards that. So everything that we'll be doing in the online market are really just going to be different tactics towards furthering that mission. And so in a lot of this training, I'm really just going to be walking you through all the different tactics that we use to accomplish that mission. Your job description, let's kind of go over that a little bit, because that'll give you an idea of some of the key areas that we've found at the national level have really been critical in furthering that goal. And then later on in this training, I'm really going to break down each of those different things that you're accountable for or that are in your job description. I'm going to do some specific trainings on those, and my goal really is to just pass on some of the best practices that I've learned from doing this at the national level, so that you'll have at least a good idea of, some lessons learned along the way. Maybe you won't have to make the same mistakes that I did when I was first getting started, but not to worry. We totally, understand that a wide variety of backgrounds are stepping into this position. Some of you may have absolutely no experience in the online space, and that's okay. Some of you may be seasoned professionals, and that's great too. So my goal here is really just to lay kind of a foundation for you, starting at the very bottom from the ground up, for those of you who are just getting kind of introduced into this world, and hopefully you'll feel empowered to be able to go out and do this job and not be intimidated. So let's just start off by going over the job description for the digital marketing coordinator position. Really, the key responsibilities include proactively communicating with your state leadership team to stay up to date with promotional needs, manage your state's Facebook page and Twitter accounts, update your state's webpage on cosaction.com with updates, blog posts, and event RSVP pages, and to proofread and help create and send state-level emails. So those are really the key areas that we're planning on having you work on, at least to start out with here. And some of the thought behind that is really those are mainly the areas that I oversee at the national level, and we've found that it is extremely helpful to have at least one person who's really keeping all those components in mind when helping to communicate clearly about what we're doing. So while you're working at the state level, really your goal is going to be to make sure that everyone knows all the amazing things that you guys are doing, whether it's hosting events or doing calls to action, or maybe featuring some volunteers on the ground. Really, some of our goals are just to make people, when they're visiting our sites, we want them to know what's going on at the state level and be able to have some clear communication in all those areas. So really, I really encourage you to take, real ownership over this role and over all of those areas, the Facebook page, the state page especially, they're there for you, and we really want you to feel free to make them your own, to customize them for your state. We really want all of these communications to be all about you and who you are as a state, and so definitely feel free to take ownership over those. We'll be giving you some tips about messaging and things like that down the road, but ultimately we really are trying to make this a self-governing movement, and so that really, ends, or by de facto that means us, coming to you and asking you to help us with creating messaging that's really going to resonate in your state, because as a member of that state, we know that you will ultimately have the best idea of what issues are most important to you. So I think that's just kind of a brief introduction into what we're going to be doing here. I do want to encourage you to use Slack as a resource as well. We have a Slack specifically for people who are serving in this leadership position. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a broad range of backgrounds there. So there's a lot of people that you can go to for feedback and for advice on how to approach, maybe if you have different problems along the way or want an extra eye on a blog post that you're writing up. Don't worry, and don't, feel free to ask for help in those areas. I'm there to help review things if you'd like. And then we also have all these other people who are working in this position as well, who I think will be more than happy to help be an extra set of eyes or give some feedback or tips on different areas that may not be your strong suit. So definitely feel free to use Slack as a resource. And as soon as you're brought into this position, you should have received an invite to join that team. So if you haven't, definitely let me know, and I'm more than happy to add you to that page. A few other things just to be on the lookout for is really, I think that proactively communicating with your team is absolutely key, because you can't help promote events or keep your state web page up to date or your Facebook page up to date if you don't know what's going on. So definitely be proactive in reaching out to your state director especially, but also I'd encourage you to be in touch with all the other state level leadership positions and really ask specific questions, or if you hear that there's going to be a call to action going on or know that there are different events happening around the country, don't hesitate to jump in and offer your services and your skills that are going to be amazing by the time you are done with this training. So just jump in there. You got this. We're going to go through some training next, and we'll break it down piece by piece. Thanks so much for being here.